Because if you don't validate yourself or your validation doesn't come within you, you're going to spend the rest of your life chasing validation. Isn't that so great? Oh my gosh, I love this book so much. Start small. Is my name this, da, 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 da? Okay, it's not? Okay, all right. So the action that you take, your name will be attached to that. So I'm not responsible for the choices you make. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Evu. I'm so happy to have you. In today's video, we're going to be talking about something that a lot of us struggle with, but we really don't talk about it. We are going to be talking about people pleasing. So whether you're the type of person to say yes even though you really want to say no at the expense of your own happiness, or you're someone that wants to make sure everybody else is okay and then you neglect yourself in the process. Today we're going to be diving into people pleasing and what are some steps or some things that we can do to stop people pleasing. So let's get right into it. So let's talk about why we people please. So some of the reasons that I can think of: wanting validation, fear of rejection, the way we grew up, maybe our worth was tied to what we were able to do for people. That's something that stays with us till we grow older and like shape our life experiences. Just having a difficult time saying no. You know, it's very hard sometimes to say no because we want to please the other person, or we're very empathetic. And for some of us, it's just simply uncomfortable to say no. I don't want to do this, or no, without any explanation. It is hard. We just kind of say yes so we can avoid the uncomfortable conversation or avoid the awkwardness that might come from saying no. Another reason why people tend to please other people is so that they're not considered selfish, because in our society, selfish has such a bad connotation to it. You don't want to be the selfish person, even though sometimes it's okay to be the selfish person. You have to focus on yourself in order to grow, right? So sometimes selfishness is important. So now let's talk about the cost of people pleasing and not putting yourself first. This can lead to burnout. This can lead to you feeling resentful towards the other person, even though you're trying to satisfy them. That's the goal. Like, it's so harmless, right? Like, that's how we think about it. Like, oh, I'm just trying to make sure that they're happy. Always putting other people first, and from that, exhaustion leads to burnout. And over time, we might just lose track of what we actually want to do because we don't check in with ourselves. We don't say, well, do I really want to do this? Do I even have the capacity to do this? How can we fix this, you ask? Good question. So, makeup done. I really couldn't do both earlier today. I couldn't put makeup on and talk at the same time. It's weird. I don't know why. People pleasing and how we're going to stop. Because what we're not going to do is burn ourselves out for others. We're going to pour into our cup before we pour into others. No? Get a cup of tea. I have my own tea here, you know. Never to be found not having tea. I want to show you guys this book that I've been reading. The name of the book is But What Would People Say? And she has some really good tips on steps to take to stop people pleasing. I'm going to read the 5 steps that she gave, and I'm going to give my 2 cents. So this is the book, But What Would People Say? This is a highly recommended book from me. I put this little feather, this really cute feather, to bookmark the page. So it's on page 199. She says, here are 5 tips for working towards the unlearning of people pleasing. The first one, which I definitely agree with this 1,000%. I actually agree with all of them, but this one, I think this is something that I had to take a moment to actually learn how to be okay with this. So the first one is practice disappointing people. Practice disappointing people. Stay with me here. Disappointing someone and wronging someone are 2 very different things. So find a safe person to disappoint and start small. This will help you build a tolerance for discomfort as well as confidence that neither the relationship Now your sense of self will crumble if you don't get the external validation you have grown used to. I don't even think I need to say more. So you need to be okay with disappointing people. If your friendship is deeply rooted in love, deeply rooted in understanding, then it shouldn't really be a big deal if you're saying no. Second one, I love all of these points. That's why I feel like it's so important for me to share. Stall and take time to respond to a request to assess if this is something you want to do, if you have the capacity to do it, and if you should do it. This is something I had to learn the hard way. When someone asks me something, I'm just like, yes, right away, without even thinking, because I don't want to hurt their feelings. I feel like they've trusted me with this task and I should show up for them. Recently, I've learned to ask myself, is this something that I want to do? Am I doing it just so I please them? Am I doing it just so I don't disappoint them? Am I doing it because they want me to do it? So these are questions that you should pause and ask yourself before agreeing to anything. The third one, remember that saying yes to something means saying no to something else. Let me read that again for you. Remember that saying yes to something means saying no to something else. The story that I have in my head is a college setting story. So you're in college, your friend is having a party, and in that same week, you have a quiz. And if you say yes to the party, you're not going to get the chance to study. If you say no to the party, then you can get the yes to study. That's a good way of looking at it. Like, if I say yes to this, I'm saying no to other things. It could be as simple as taking a nap. Like, if my friend is having a party at like 5 o'clock and I'm so tired, I really had a long day, a long week, and I just need a time to decompress and just isolate myself from everyone because I need to refill my cup. So if you say yes to them, you're saying no to treating yourself to self-care. If you say no to self-care, you're saying yes to them. Okay, number 4. This is not something that you can do in a day. This takes practice. I'm still not good at it. I still sometimes say yes even when I really want to say no, or not take the moment to pause and think about it. Is this something that I actually want to do? Start small. Instead of having that difficult conversation in person, try to start saying no over text or email to build confidence and self-efficacy. Baby step still gets you moving in the right direction. Isn't that so great? Oh my gosh, I love this book so much. Start small. Sometimes it might be so hard to say it to people's face because, sometimes people try to persuade you. You can see their emotion change. You can see that. And if you aren't unable to take that, if you're an empath, you might want to change your mind. So sometimes it's just easier for you to say no over the text, or find trusted people that you can actually say no to. Find trusted people that you can say, as much as I want to do that, I cannot do this. I have to decline. People who you trust, people who you feel like your relationship would then deteriorate because you're saying no. So start with trusted people. Start over the phone. Work up the courage to say it in person and not feeling guilty about it. The last one, if saying no is difficult, consider offering a compromise that works for you. Keyword, works for you, not for them, but for you. This could look like setting a time limit, asking for an extension, or offering an alternative plan. You couldn't make the party because you wanted to study. You can choose to ask them to go to brunch on Saturday after your quiz is over. Whatever it is that you guys like to do. This is a made-up situation, so whatever rocks your boat. Other things that you should consider doing is setting boundaries. That's that B word again. Setting boundaries. It is so important. It allows you to tell people what you can tolerate and what you wouldn't tolerate. And also, like, learning about your boundaries is not something that you can do in a day. You just keep going at it and you keep asking yourself those questions. Is this something that I want? How do I want to be treated? There, just a plethora of questions that you can ask yourself in order to set your boundaries. And remember, you're the one responsible for reinforcing your own boundaries. You have to set your boundaries and follow through with it.
Do it! Just do it!
Which is very hard, I know. I'm talking from experience. Another tip is changing your mindset. Instead of asking yourself, how would this make them feel? Ask yourself, how would this make me feel? I know this is all about me, but this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. It might sound selfish to some people, but being selfish is okay. Being selfish is okay because it allows you to set your limits and prioritize yourself. So that's what we're doing. We're changing our mindset. We're asking the important questions. How does this make me feel? Another tip is that you have to accept that you cannot please everybody. It's literally impossible. You cannot please everyone. If you're trying to do that, it'll be a detriment to you. It would be a detriment to you because when you're trying to please other people, you neglect yourself in the process. You put other people before yourself, and then you become an empty cup. And you remember you're not responsible for other people. Everyone is responsible for themselves. Everybody is responsible for themselves. My mom always says something super funny. She's always like, is my name this, da, 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 da? Okay, it's not? Okay, all right. So the action that you take, your name will be attached to that. So I'm not responsible for the choices you make. And you're not responsible for the way people react after you say no. You're not responsible for any of that. We're not responsible for other people because we don't want to be exhausted at the end of the day. You get what I mean? No. No. We're not doing that. The last one. Remember that you do not need validation, external validation, to feel worthy. That validation has to come within you. And granted, I'm not saying that it doesn't feel good to be validated by people around us. It's important, It's nice to hear those things. But you need to validate yourself, because if you don't validate yourself or your validation doesn't come within you, you're going to spend the rest of your life chasing validation. Yep, you're going to spend the rest of your life chasing the validation of other people. We're not doing that at all, babes. No. I have to remember, this is not a day's work. We have to choose progress over perfection. So sometimes you might have a setback. It's okay. Just pick yourself back up and remember the goals and the boundaries that you have for yourself and work towards it. You need to put your needs before anybody else. Alrighty, that's the end of this video. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like, a comment. What are some things that you do to remind yourself to set boundaries, follow through with your boundaries, and stop people pleasing? Thank you all so much for stopping by my channel today. It was fun having this conversation with you, and I hope to see you soon. Oh, also, before we go, what is my makeup blindness, guys? Constructive feedback only. What is my makeup blindness? I don't know. Tell me in the comment down below.